Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? It's Alexander Hilly123 here, and it's time for a new video. And as you can see from the title, today I'm talking about the band Red House Painters, and I'm ranking their albums from worst to best. Now, when I do these videos, I always give a little bit of a talk and understanding for you guys and how I got into the band themselves, or the artist, the musician that we're talking about. Well, it was 2008 and I was 18 years of age. And on Windows Live Messenger, if you remember using that service, my God, it was amazing back in the day. If you had iTunes or Windows Media Player or something similar, you could put in your name the song you were listening to. And there was a guy, I don't even know who he was, to be honest with you, but that was what it was like back in the day. The internet was so different back then. No idea who he was. I didn't know him in real life, but he was listening to Red House Painters a lot, and I thought, what a peculiar band name. And then the year later, in 2009, didn't listen to Red House Painters, but it was in my head, obviously. My favourite band, and still are, I'd only been listening to them within a year. CATHEDRAL had a new album out in 2009, and they were talking about their inspirations. I think they had, like, Sisters of Mercy, Gothic rock, Jeff Buckley, first album, and Christ, who wasn't inspired by that. A few other metallic things here and there, because he started as a metal band, specifically. And they mentioned about Red House Painters, and that was what was the key for me to think, yeah, okay, I'm going to give these guys a listen. Was a little bit put off with the genres. I mean, genres are important. It gives you a kind of potential perspective on what you should anticipate musically. But slowcore and sadcore are just pretty dumb, and I'm sure none of these bands that play this kind of, you know, it's slow, plodding music, it's hypnotic drums, spidery guitars, it's downbeat, typically, but there is light in every single band, you know, Law, who I love, Codeine, who I've never really been into, and a few other artists as well in the 90s who made music similar to this. I'm sure they all hate that moniker of slowcore, sadcore. It's pretty damn dumb, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, I listen to the music, and from the off I was like, holy shit, this is something I can get involved with. I was 18, 19 years of age at the time, and it was just unbelievable, just getting into so many different artists and bands. Your brain soaks music up so much easier at that age. Now I'm hurtling towards my mid-30s, it certainly doesn't. But later that year and into 2010, Red House Painters are split up by this stage. Sun Kil Moon came about, and I love Sun Kil Moon as well. I'm not going to be doing a worst to best, at least right now, Sun Kil Moon. That's Mark Kozolek's second band after Red House Painters, if you're wondering. And yeah, that's my story, really. From there, within a year or two, I'd absolutely adored everything, and huge fan. And even now, like 13, 14 years since getting into them, I just cannot stop listening to their music. It's not on repeat anymore, because there's so many different bands and artists that I adore, but sooner rather than later, I'm going to be listening to some of Red House Painters' music. It's very cathartic for me, and yeah, I'll always be listening to this music. But the band themselves, 6 albums altogether. If you want to not hear me waffle for 30 to 40 minutes, guys, in the drop-down box will be a link to a timestamp when I start talking about each individual album. A YouTube link to my most favourite song from each album. So if you don't want to listen to the whole of this video, feel free, because I'm not going to be cutting up or editing the video. I might get a phone call during this video. I'm anticipating one. Would be bloody typical if it happens. But I've got to say, this is one of the hardest, and I say it every time, it is one of the hardest. And I think it's important, ladies and gentlemen, so just remember this is subjective, and my list may well be different than yours. I've seen many albums ranked to my favourite bands and artists, and I've been in disbelief at the rankings. Like my favourite Catatonia album, watch the bloke say it was his least favourite, and one of my least favourite Catatonia albums was his favourite. It's just the way it goes. As long as people articulate themselves and why that's their opinion well enough, then I've absolutely no problem. A band like Catatonia, Red House Painters, different kinds of music, but the solid discographies with a lot of fantastic tracks. Now, the first album, and my least favourite Red House Painters album, ladies and gentlemen, coming in at number 6, and I've got to say, like I said before, but it bears repeating, I love all of these albums, and I genuinely couldn't really tell you why I've put it as my least favourite. Maybe it's because there's a lack of reverb and maybe atmosphere that the other albums have due to that reverb and the echo on Kozolek's voice. And there's a mixture with all Red House Painters albums of acoustic and electric guitar, and this is absolutely no different, but I think it is more acoustic based, and I think it loses something perhaps without that reverb there. There are a few tracks that I can't get into as much, but I still bloody love this album. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the last album, the last LP, Old Ramon, the one with the US flag hanging down, black and white. Great cover photo. This was released in 2001, but actually it was recorded in late 97, early 98. I just saw something online. Trying to find information about some older bands is really tough because there's not that much out there. I guess media has changed through the years. It was all written back in the day, and now it's all on the internet. But I just saw a little blurb about how Kozolek got together with another band, made music, and that's what started Sun Kil Moon and was why this album... I think it was an issue with the label as well, perhaps, but yeah, this took years to come out and was released on Sub Pop, 71 minutes in length. It also says folk rock. Yeah, there's aspects of folk, more so maybe with this album than the earlier albums. This album does what every single Red House Painter album does, which is have a fantastic balance of chorus, verse, chorus tracks, which anywhere between 2 and 4 minutes in length. And then Mark has always loved putting these longer tracks in the album. And I'm laughing like it's a bad thing. It certainly isn't, but it's something that you get with progressive rock bands, isn't it? Where it's not just chorus, verse, chorus, and it's meandering all over the place. And I know he's done a cover of the band Yes. He's referenced with Sun Kil Moon before drummers from heavy metal bands, and he's obviously liaised and worked with, I think his name's Justin Broderick from Hezu and Godflesh. It's kind of shoegaze, Hezu, but Godflesh are fucking industrial metal. I like some Godflesh here and there. But he's obviously interested in other kinds of music, and I think that showcases itself with the longer tracks, such as Funhouse on the Rollercoaster album, which is just absolutely crazy, heavy distortion, and kind of heaviness that you wouldn't necessarily anticipate, but it still works. There's not that much in terms of heaviness. There's 1 or 2 rockers on this album, but there's a lot of melancholic little numbers as well. There's a few tracks more so than perhaps on the other albums that I can't necessarily get into. Got my MP3 here. This is an iPod Classic, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it's an iPod Classic. The shortest track on the album is a one called Golden. It's just a beautiful acoustic little number. Absolutely gorgeous. Gives me goosebumps. One of my favourites. The song that I'm putting as my favourite on this album is one called Void. Absolutely phenomenal. Nearly 10 minutes in length, but it's so damn easy to listen to. I wouldn't say that this is a good place for somebody to start with Red House Painters, but you've got to know that their albums are going to be a little bit challenging to get into. Maybe Ocean Beach or Songs for a Blue Guitar are a good starting point, I would say, but gorgeous guitar running through Void. I'm listening to these as I'm talking to you guys, because sometimes these days as I get older, I forget what bloody songs I'm listening to. Like, if I look at a name, but I don't hear it, I forget, and then I listen to it, it's like, oh yeah, Grandpa remembers, I remember. Gorgeous guitar, so at ease and chill, absolutely beautiful. I could listen to this one now, it's so gorgeous, man. Amazing lyrics as well. Oh, what a song. I can't believe I'm putting this as my least favourite, honestly, ladies and gentlemen. Bird Jewel. That's got a lighter vibe. I think I would say this album is slightly lighter and not as constantly downbeat and downtrodden. I don't think that lighter edge is why it's my least favourite. I honestly can't say. Whopper Din Din is one of my least favourite tracks on it. Kavita also. What's Michigan? There's a song called Michigan. This ain't one of my favourites as well. This is more acoustic. Nice balance of shorter, longer tracks. It's still great. Got a poster there of Porcupine Tree. They also I got into around about 2008, 2009. The lead singer of that band, Stephen Wilson. Yeah, what was that noise? I think I'm getting burgled. He does a podcast with somebody who he's in a band with. And they were saying that Old Ramon is a terrible album and they hate it and whatnot compared to the rest of the discography, because he's a huge fan of the rest of the Red House Painters discography. And I was like, yeah, okay, I can appreciate that, lads. But personally, I don't know where they're coming from. I still think it's a really solid album, and it was difficult for me to say that it's my least favourite, but I have put it as my least favourite. Right, next, ladies and gentlemen, at number 5, it's the second album, Red House Painters 2, titled Bridge, and this was released in late 1993, I do believe. Earlier that year, they'd released another album called Rollercoaster, so the band was on a roll at this point, and it's a lot of music in a short space and length of time. It says here on Wikipedia, it's called Bridge or Red House Painters 2 to distinguish it from the first eponymous album. It's the third album by the group entirely, released on 4 AD, October 93. And it's made up of songs from the recording sessions for Rollercoaster. So obviously this is my second to least favourite, but when you consider the fact that these came from seemingly the same sessions as the Rollercoaster album, it's still a very solid album. These are essentially B-sides that made it into an album, I'm assuming. There's a few cover songs here as well. There's a Star Spangled Banner itself getting a version from Kozilek. There's a I Am a Rock cover from Simon and Garfunkel. Never been overly keen on the interpretation of that track, if I'm being totally honest. But some of my favourite Red House Painters songs are on here, and typically when I do these videos, what tends to happen is my least favourite video, because I don't preempt these videos. I've got a few notes here, but I don't plan them out. I hit the record button. I know I've wanted to make this video for a while, but I've not thought, what am I going to say? Whatever comes out of my mouth is what happens, and we just roll with it. And sometimes I go off on tangents and forget what I'm talking about. So, my apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. But what I'm saying here is, when we get closer to the songs that I love the most and the albums that I love the most, I find it easier to talk about them. And you'll see a wide grin, smile on my face, because music means a lot to me. And it certainly does on this album. We've got some longer tracks here, like I mentioned before. It's all part of the Red House Painters experience. Evil coming in at 7 minutes 20, and Blindfold in at 8 minutes 30. The shortest track on this album is an electric version of New Jersey, which is a song which is on the Rollercoaster album, which was released earlier that year. But I'm just having a look now on my MP3, Red House Painters 2. Here we go. Evil starts up with this, let me just remind myself. Mark's laughing at the start of this track. And Red House Painters did that a few times, where it's obviously an in-joke between the band and they're all talking to each other and they just keep it in. I don't know why, but if a song ends up being brilliant, I love that kind of shit. Many bands have done it before, but these guys did it quite a lot. But you've got a brooding, dark, weird, not so much weird, but it's just a very slow, plodding acoustic guitar. This takes a bit of time to get going. This isn't exactly a song you'd say is a lovely song. Oh, what a nice one to listen to. There's some darker lyrics here for sure. And I think I prefer the outro to this song than the intro. Let me just skip it along. My iPod Classic's on its last legs. How this thing is still working is a minor miracle. It'll go one day. Oh, yeah. There's this weird vocal line. I don't know if it was Mark doing it or somebody else in the band. But it works. And it's bizarre. The song Bubble, the second track on the album, much more melodic. Much more of a conventional track, I guess you'd say. Nice little bass line there. And Mark, he's got a nice balance of lyrics that absolutely devastate you and lyrics that you look at and you think, okay. I'm not somebody who picks apart lyrics. If I'm going to do a worst to best of bloody Bob Dylan and it'll take me 5 hours, then you might see that. But no, I think he's a good lyricist. Some tracks absolutely devastate me and some leave me a bit apathetic about, the actual lyrical content, but I still love the actual song. But the outro to this is gorgeous, because a picture is all you are to me. A picture is all you'll ever be. Utterly Beautiful track. Like I said, the Simon and Garfunkel song, I've never been too keen on. I'm not keen on that cover. One of my ultimate favourites, the two tracks that are my favourite. The ultimate favourite, which we picked, is Helicopter. It's on now. Absolutely frigging gorgeous song. Beautiful. So I want to listen to this now, man. We'll soar like one, brave martyr pilot, so that I can know you outside our cold, winded earth. Feel part of your desolate pain. Taste what has made you grow. It's a gorgeous song. It's my favourite on the album. And it's really beautiful. It really is. And then, oh my days, the absolute devastator. You know, I was talking some songs lyrically leave you a bit cold. Well, this one is pointing as hell. I don't know if Mark did these songs about himself in the earlier albums, maybe so. That aspect of the band became a bit more vague, perhaps, in the later albums, what the lyrics were all about. But this one is leaving you with no doubt what it's about. Uncle Joe. Absolutely devastating. I absolutely adore this song so much. I'm having it as my second least favourite on the album because it's frigging dark, this one. Where have all the people gone in my life? I'm looking at the ceiling with an awful feeling of loss and loneliness. The after late night television pain, I'm running out of strength. And the chorus is beautiful, and it feels so wonderful to swim in our fear, and it's unacceptable, the awakening of life. And he's talking to Uncle Joe himself in this song. Could you tell me what you know? I've been having mental problems, and the solution is unclear. I'll give anything a try once. And then the most unbelievable moment in the discography, possibly, of Red House Painters. He name drops the frigging band. I found this out a long time ago. I can't remember how. Maybe from a YouTube comment. I saw a YouTube comment that didn't dwindle my IP. It says, I am not very well read. And did you say that I will lose my house? And can you spare me of my pain? And can you spare me of my tears? Red House Pain Tears. Pretty damn cool if you never knew that, but yeah. And there's a bit of a weird moment here where it says, it was unintentional when I spit in your beer. I am overly influenced by movies. Bit of a peculiar one there, but oh my god, what a track. I absolutely adore that song. And to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, it's number 5 in my pick. I wish I could talk more because sometimes I do these listings and then I think, fucking hell, I could have had it the other way around. Gorgeous album. So many good songs, because I'll tell you something, Rollercoaster is a long album. So to have written these songs as well, a year after the debut album, and what, must have been like a year after the Bridge album here, they did like Ocean Beach. Utterly phenomenal. Just pumping out that material. But, ladies and gentlemen, my 4th favourite Red House Painters album now, and my god, the song that I've picked as my favourite from this is just unbelievable. Pardon me. It's Songs for a Blue Guitar. I can't believe I'm putting this 4th in the list. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know there's people out there watching this now shaking their head. Please just forgive me. I just ask. Because this is an absolutely incredible album as well. Let me find it. Here we go. Songs for a Blue Guitar. Now, you won't find this one, if you're getting into the band, guys, you won't find this one on Spotify. I think it's a different label. Indeed, it is Supreme Recordings. So it's not actually on Spotify. So it says here, Songs for a Blue Guitar is the 5th studio album by Red House Painters, released July 1996. It says here as well that it's effectively a Mert Kozolek solo album. Apologies. Since no other members of the band are listed in the liner notes. And it says the album introduced heavier electric guitar-driven rock to their sound. And I find that very interesting. And by the way, I didn't know that this is effectively a solo album. And I think there might have been tensions within the band. And as fans, you know, I love Pink Floyd. Many other bands where there's been tensions between the artists. It's something that as a listener is so fascinating. And sometimes it helps make great music. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what the difference was between the band members. I think there was a little bit of tension at the time, perhaps, maybe. There's a lot of background information on Wikipedia about this one. And I think, to be honest with you, if I had to say why this is 4th and there's 3 albums in front of it, yet again, I've never been overly keen on a lot of the cover songs that are in Red House Painters songs. There's Silly Love Songs here by Paul McCartney and Long Distance Runaround by John Anderson. Now, Silly Love Songs, I think, is a McCartney solo track. I've never listened to much solo material from Paul McCartney, so I honestly don't know. I've never listened to Yes, and yes, I am a progressive rock fan, but only with certain bands. Floyd, King Crimson are the two old school ones for me. Never listened to Yes. And then there's a song here called All Mixed Up, which is one by the Cars. Now, this is the track that I do adore. And I'll be honest with you, I've never even listened to the original, so I should. But when there's 3 cover tracks on an album, that's quite a lot, isn't it? And I don't think it ruins the album, but out of the 3 cover tracks, I only like All Mixed Up. It's a long time since I actually listened to Long Distance Runaround and Silly Love Songs, but I remember not being overly keen on them. The blurb here on Wikipedia mentioned the fact that it's got more of an electric guitar feel, and I think the songs are a little, quite simply, faster, I would say. They're a bit more of an alternative rock vibe than the 3 albums that came before it. Maybe less reverb yet again, like I mentioned on Older Ramon. Now, I just need to... Oh, shit, wait a minute. 70 minutes in length, by the way. Red House Painters albums tend to be quite lengthy. This is no different. I'm just going to listen here on my iPod. The song for a blue guitar. Oh, there it is. Because there's 2 versions of Have You Forgotten, which is the opening track. There's an acoustic version where it's quite jangly, and although it's very melancholy and introspective, this song, both musically and lyrically, there's also another version of this song, which I don't think was on the album. It's slower, and in my opinion, personally, it's better. You know how on YouTube some people sometimes put up their own video for a piece of music? That happened with this song. That's happened with many songs. It's 2 guys, I think it's in Norway or something, and they're just walking around, and you don't hear, obviously, what they're saying. It's playing the music, Red House Painters, but it fits the bill. Sometimes people just post up a video, and it's like, wow, this fits the bill. And it's absolutely gorgeous. The other version of Have You Forgotten, I don't know if it was just released standalone or whatever, but I prefer it to the one that's on the actual album. There's also a song for a blue guitar, which there's a song from Mazzy Star called Fade Into You, and it's very similar. And people said that it was a rip-off because I think this album came out the year after that album. And yeah, it might well be, but guess what? I prefer Song for a Blue Guitar. Absolutely beautiful. There's some female vocals on this album as well. Stephanie Finch backing vocals on Songs for a Blue Guitar and the cover of All Mixed Up. And All Mixed Up, for me, I think the reason why I absolutely adore it is because it feels like a Red House Painters song, unlike Silly Love Songs and Long Distance Runaround, which just sound like covers, and Mark just said, we'll put them in the album. But All Mixed Up is gorgeous. Song for a Blue Guitar, utterly beautiful as well. Make Like Paper. Now, this is a 12-minute track, and I'm going to admit something to you guys. I can't remember it, and it's 12 minutes in length. I don't know that song, and I feel guilty. I feel the same way about I Feel the Rainfall. So you might be saying at this point, well, Alex, why is it fourth? Because Priest Ali song is amazing. Just a moment. Revelation and Big Sur is utterly devastating. And Trailways, it's the song that Leonard Cohen never wrote, in my opinion. It's the one I'm putting in the drop-down box. There's some just devastating moments here. And I keep saying devastating because it's just... Let me get a few lyrics up here. Christ almighty, this video's going on for a long time. I really didn't want it to go for longer than 40 minutes. I can't make anything of why the brightest light faded, or how you slept a sleepless slumber. Through the rhythm of a timeless season, you are the dark of my soul, and it's your love that I steal. And you're my cuts that won't close, this I'm certain. Just got some good old love song shit right here, ladies and gentlemen, but it's absolutely beautiful. But my favourite moment of this track is when he says, through all your worries and the worst in people, you don't see anything. You're the builder of your own high temple, and that's the magic of your mind. You're the reason that I'm down, but you're the promise that I found, and you're all that I've got. Who's the meanest? Who's a genius? Who's mine? Wow, that is just amazing. And there are some fantastic lyrics from Kozilek. Like I say, I wouldn't say he's hit and miss. It's just that sometimes the lyrics don't bother me that much, and then sometimes I'm just left thinking, holy shit, unbelievable. But Trailways is so gorgeous. That main chorus, where is it? But you were my friend, don't you know how I needed you then? I felt nervous when you shook and cried. Circle under your eyes. We made love until you reached the clouds through the ceiling and walls that surround. And then that outro, it's giving me goosebumps. It is otherworldly, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to it. We've got to move on. But yeah, basically the reason that I've put Songs for a Blue Guitar fourth, even though I've already admitted to you guys that some of the covers I'm not keen on, and I don't even remember Mate Like Paper or I Feel the Rainfall, is because of the quality and the astonishing brilliance of the songs that I do love. Anyway, coming in at number 3 now is Ocean Beach, released in 1995, the year before. You're probably thinking by this stage, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very conventional listing. I don't know. Sometimes when I do these, once I've recorded this video, or even before, I'll have a look online at other people's rankings. But I have a feeling that Red House Painters, I mean, they're probably the least well-known of the bands that I've done all these rankings on, so there might not even be many out there. But yeah, I'll be interested if other people have ranked their albums. But Ocean Beach, this was released in March 95. It says here, the album saw the group and Mark Kozilek move towards a more pastoral and folk influence arrangement style, in contrast to the lengthy, droning epics, the reverb. I just spelled something out there. Kozilek relics that featured on the earlier albums. Ocean Beach was also the last album to feature founding guitarist Gordon Mack, as well as being the band's last studio album released by 4AD. And yet again here, just like the last album, just like old Ramon. Oh, it's not like their older stuff. It's more folky, it's more rocky. But there's always a little bit of everything. You know, a bit of rock, a bit of folk, a bit of singer-songwriter, a bit of electric guitar, acoustic guitar. Like I said, it's something that Matt did quite a few times with these longer pieces of music and even instrumentation that was really abrasive and heavy. Like I keep talking about Funhouse because I love that song. But ladies and gentlemen, this album, 54 minutes in length. Oh my god, it's more concise, and maybe that is a reason that I've put it as third. The album starts off with a song called Cabezon, which I am assuming is Spanish, and I think, if I remember correctly, it means pig-headed man in Spanish. 3 minutes 11. Or pig-headed person, perhaps, I don't quite know. But it's a jangly, beautiful little piece. It's just really pleasant to listen to. Some nice acoustic guitar. Some gentle drums there. And isn't it funny how a piece of music like that can mean so much to you? It's just the tone of it. It's gorgeous. It fits the bill. And I think it's a really good opening song to the album. And the next track is a really short one as well. It's very familiar to me personally, regardless of what it said about being different than Rollercoaster. You could hear some shit like this on Rollercoaster. Summer Dress. Nice lyrics. Just a woman saying, Kozilek saying how beautiful this woman looks. And it's a really nice song. I'm rushing through now, guys. Sorry. San Geronimo is a bit of a rocker. Nearly running in at 8 minutes. I like it, but don't love it. And then the mid section of this album and the end is just bloody unbelievable. Shadows, astonishing. Over My Head, astonishing. Red Carpet, this is only 2.5 minutes in length. Not one of my ultimate favourites, but yet again, I can totally imagine that being on Rollercoaster. It's not that different in my opinion. Brockwell Park. Unbelievable song. Moments and Drop. Now, we'll get to Moments and Drop, but I've just got to say, Over My Head starts with one of the band making a really weird noise, like, ooh. And this is what I said earlier, where an in-joke with the band talking to themselves. New Age wind chimes, one of them saying here. And this is, yet again, a beautiful, gorgeous song. Acoustic guitar, lovely lyrics. There's so many tabs open on my computer, guys, I'm losing track here. I'm going to cut the other tabs off. Feeling uneasy. Got a bit of singing from this bald man. Sleeping rooms where people live. Might get done for copyright, my vocals are so good. Shit. Sometimes you get so alone without a friend, it's hard to know who you are and to pretend. The chorus, little lights reaching over my head, shiny sinks to let myself out in. Okay? And you won't call to say it's alright because you know it lasts all night. You know you should be at home where it's good to be tired, under a roof that you know that we're inside. These are some beautiful lyrics, and it kind of astonishes me that every single Reduce Painters album has songs like Uncle Joe, and it's about depression, it's about anxiety, it's about mental illness, it's about loneliness, it's about relationships gone wrong, it's about all these negative things. And then you got an absolutely beautiful song like this, and they work alongside each other well. And yeah, Over My Head is such a beautiful song. The outro though, it goes. Is this the song that I think it is at the outro? I think it goes like, Mark's done this a couple of times where the guitar just goes apeshit and they like detune the guitars to make them sound absolutely bonkers. Remember Opeth doing that on a few of their tracks. Michael Ackerfeld's done that before. And sometimes it works. It's like Katie's song. Everyone watching this will know Katie's song. That outro, sometimes I actually skip it. I know it's controversial, but sometimes if I'm not in the mood for the last 4 or 5 minutes of us, la 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 la, sometimes I'm skip it. And sometimes if I'm really in the mood for the song and I need the emotion of that song, I'll just go along with it and sing my heart out and go for it, because I absolutely fucking love that song. Obviously, who doesn't? It's a phenomenal piece of music. But yeah, oh Christ, this album. Brockwell Park, Mark's saying at the start of the song begins and he goes, is it on? So is everything good to go? And it's like, yeah, we're doing this. Absolutely devastating. Now, I don't want to get too involved lyrically here, but I think who he speaks about in Brockwell Park might well be the person from Katie's song, who I believe was English, maybe? And he's talking about London here. It's a park in London. I've never been to London, even though I'm English. Couldn't bloody pay me to go. In London's lonesome park, Brockwell. But out here, I am distracted as fire bombs explode. Brockwell Park had an annual fireworks display. Yeah, we've got something called Bonfire Night over in the UK, if you don't know, in other countries, so it might not be New Year's Eve. If the days weren't so precious and no worlds were shorted, wires had kept us, things would be better than this. There's an angel by the ocean I miss. Mark lives in San Francisco by the ocean. The angel he misses is someone he loves who is in San Francisco, although on Genius.com that's got a -2, because sometimes people put what they think these songs are about and it might not be true. But, you know, a different perspective and opinion is absolutely fine by me. Anyway, where are we up to now? I forgot. Drop and Moments. You know what? This video is nearly 30 minutes in length. It's 33. Drop and Moments. Moments is 8 minutes. Drop. It says 13.5 minutes, but I think it ends and then there's like a secret track. 2 of the most unbelievable songs Kozilek's ever made. And I can't find now for some reason the album. I really need to rush, but Moments and Drop are my 2 favourite songs on this album. The one I've put is Drop. Moments is also incredible. They're both quite similar in tone. They're both 2 probably the darkest songs on the album. The reason I've put Drop in here is because so much that I can't say to you, my voice shakes from the hurt that I hide, ashamed of my existence and my petty, often wounded pride. I'd like to come home to see you and to catch your sickness by the bedside, but then you'd know how much I really need you. All the love in an instant makes my life stop, but then my hate for you makes my feelings altogether drop. If only I were blind to your selfish fling and your desperate cause. Like, this is just on another level, so doesn't want to let this person know how much he cares for them, but they're unwell, He's got these conflicted emotions. It's one of the most devastating songs ever put to tape. Ladies and gentlemen, Drop and Moments. Not two of the easiest songs to get into, but if you get into it, Redis Painters, check these songs out. They're utterly phenomenal. Right, I'd like to keep this under 40 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. By Christ, I can ramble. I've got this on vinyl. Would you like to see it? No, I can't be bothered. Redis Painters. Rollercoaster, the second favourite. I can't be asked getting it out of the vinyl rack. But I've got this one on vinyl. This is the second album released in May 1993. And it says here, let me have a look. A double album, features 14 songs, received highly positive reviews, praise directed at the band's melancholic instrumentation and emotional depth. The album cover is a sepia-toned picture of the now demolished Thunderbolt roller coaster at Coney Island. So it kind of gives it a kind of haunted feel. And as does the debut album, which obviously you know is number one, Down Colourful Hill, where it's just this dilapidated, horrible little bed, which doesn't look comfortable, and it looks awful, and it doesn't look cosy at all. Rollercoaster and Down Colourful Hill are similar musically, they're similar lyrically. They're both dark as shit. They're both pure slowcore, sadcore, absurd amounts of reverb on the vocals. There's a lot of longer tracks here, like Mother and Fun House, which I've already mentioned a few times. Katie Song, which is probably the most well-known track that the band ever did. Let me have a look at Red House Painters 1 here. The thing is, on every single Red House Painters album, as much as I adore them, there's always been a few tracks, and this is the way it is for a lot of my favourite bands, where I'm like, I can appreciate it, it's a decent track, but there's many, 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 many other tracks that I love, and I can't quite simply get into it. But there's a lot of absolutely devastatingly beautiful tracks here, shorter ones, and then the longer ones. We've got Down Through. It's just the melody and what Mark's saying and the vibe. It's gorgeous. Katie Song, we all know. Mistress. Now, this one has got dark lyrics, but I actually find it quite humorous, to be perfectly honest. I've got to admit, just the name of the track and Mark saying he needs to be punished and whatnot. There's also a piano version of this, obviously, on Bridge. I've had enough of the brutal beatings and name-callings to lose me to this bed, bruised eternally. Bloody hell, it's quite dark, to be perfectly honest with you. But I struggle to take that as serious as some of their other songs, such as Things Mean a Lot. Oh my god, what a track. It's the third verse. Scares me how you get older, how you forget about each other. Scares me how you get older, how you forget about each other. Things mean a lot of the time, but they don't mean nothing later. Which is so true for life in general. People don't remember what happened yesterday, and I guess in a way that's quite a positive lyric in a weird way. Like, don't get hung up on things and don't hold grudges maybe, and don't worry because people will forget. I guess it doesn't have a nice, happy vibe, this song, though. It's pretty fucking dark. Absolutely gorgeous, though. Now, Funhouse, I was talking about this before. The guitar in this one, it just sounds eerie and dark and brooding, and there's a lot of echo. Wait. We are the real clowns, and the sun really shines our way. This is towards the end of the song now. And when it does, and then it just repeats the lyric when it does, but I just cannot get that song, that part out of my head. And 1,000 circus mirrors cannot move a frown. Oh! And I love the way with Mark's accent it comes across, and 1,000 circus mirrors. It's just unbelievable. The speaker goes so far as to juxtapose the idea of circus mirrors with sadness. Whereas circus mirrors are usually used in the context of fun and games, the speaker here is saying that even circus mirrors couldn't change or positively distort the sorrowful physical appearance of the subject. Oh my god. And the end of this, like I say, it's brooding, it's dark, and it's heavy as shit, man. And it works. It works. Take Me Out, I like. It's simple. Not one of my favourites. The actual self-titled track as well, Rollercoaster, isn't one of my favourites. New Jersey's a fun track. I actually quite like that. New Jersey ain't the whole world. He's obviously telling this woman that there's more out there other than New Jersey. Dragonflies. Now, on Wikipedia, it says here that this is co-written by Robin Nail. Real Nail. I don't know who that is, and I don't know the history behind this track. But holy shit, this is one of the most beautiful songs ever made. Dragonflies, gorgeous. And then Mother, which is emotionally impactful, to say the least, and running at 13 minutes towards the end of the album, it will floor you, ladies and gentlemen. Strawberry Hill, and then Brown Eyes. A lot of my favourite tracks on this album are the shorter ones, and usually you'd think that that must mean that it ends up being throwaway, but they're so impactful. Like, how you can make a song so short and it be so good, and it's just an acoustic guitar and some dark lyrics and shit, is beyond me. Now, we're running in at nearly 45 minutes here. I've probably, arguably, spoken less about Rollercoaster than Ocean Beach and Songs for a Blue Guitar. Some of the songs I've just passed up on here, but I feel like the reason that we're passing over Rollercoaster, I'm not talking about it as much, is it's more consistent with its theme. There's less lighter tracks here. It's more slowcore with a reverb, the darkness. There's some lighter moments as well, but it's just incredibly consistent. I adore it, and it's a legendary album which deserves the acclaim that it got. But ladies and gentlemen, we need to talk now about my favourite Red House Painters album. I'm sure it's the favourite of a lot of people out there, but I'm sure others watching this will have a completely different opinion to me, and that's absolutely fine. Now, I did say before that there's always a track that I don't like on a Red House Painters album, and that's always been the case. And I think it's because Mark took risks with the music, because he wasn't scared of putting in multiple covers. Let's add this crazy distortion. Let's make this song 14 minutes just because. Let's put this one with absolutely nonsensical lyrics. There's a few songs. I think there's a song on Old Ramon where he even forgets the lyrics of the song and he just goes la da 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 da. I think it's on Golden. I think. So yeah, and it's just all there. Sometimes you get the feeling that what you're hearing was like a one take or whatnot, and they could have done it again, but they didn't, and that is so damn cool. But the thing is, with Down Colourful Hill, the debut album, what differentiates this, not so much musically, but the album, the track listing, is the fact that there are only 6 tracks here. It's 43 minutes in length, so it's much more concise musically. There are obviously some longer songs here. Down Colourful Hill's nearly 11 minutes. 9 minutes and 50 seconds for Medicine Bottle. Now I'm just going to get rid of the other tabs here because, to be perfectly honest with you, I think these tabs have made it a little difficult. And I would advise people, like, if anyone watches the whole of this 50 minutes, Christ almighty, you've got a lot of time on your hands, people. But thank you anyway, I do appreciate it. I do get excited, I do talk quickly when I make these, and like I say, I'm not incredibly articulate because I'm not a musician. I've just got these ears, I listen to music, and I love what I love, ladies and gentlemen. Now, it says here on Genius.com, the album mainly talks about the struggles of Mark Kozelek, the singer of Red House Painters. The songs are long, slow, very simple in composition, yet emotional due to the lyrics. It says here his Japanese girlfriend cheating on him. I mean, there's a song here called Japanese to English. The loss of his best friend, oh my lord, his cynicism against everything, fear of aging, are the main fears. The main themes of the album. And that is what I would say about this one. Because there's so few tracks, it's like, Michael, that's a song about getting older and losing touch with your friends. Japanese to English, this person says it's about a Japanese girlfriend Mark had. I didn't even know that. Cheating on him. His cynicism, which is Medicine Bottle, without a shadow of a doubt. About aging, that's the song 24. Each song, it's downtrodden. It's fucking Misery Guts. Misery Guts Central, ladies and gentlemen. But it's got its own theme. It's about its own thing. And I could talk 50 minutes about each individual track on this album, ladies and gentlemen. The song starts off with 24, where Mark says, "So it's not loaded stadiums or ballparks. That was the dream when he was a kid. And we're not kids on swing sets on the blacktop. Those days are gone." And he thought that at 15, that he'd have it down by the age of 16. And 24 keeps breathing in my face like a mad whore, ladies and gentlemen. 24 keeps pounding at my door like a friend you don't want to see. Oldness comes with a smile. Oldness comes to rile the youth who dreams suicide. And this was a grunge era, ladies and gentlemen, so it completely made sense for that time as well. And it completely makes sense now. And I remember when I got into Red House Painters, I was 19 and thinking, I'm going into my 20s. And then I thought, I'm getting close to 24. And then I got past 24. And now I'm nearly 10 years older than 24. And you look at the lyrics on YouTube where everyone saying, I'm 18 and I love this music. My parents got me into this music. Oh, I'm 14. Look at me. I don't like Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran. It's like, yeah, fair play, kid, you know. But people are giving their perspective and their story. And it's cool because it's something that we all can't deny. It's so emotionally impactful, though. It's phenomenal. Medicine Bottle. This is about Kozilek giving into love and sharing my time, letting someone into my misery. Well, what a lovely character. I told it all, step by step, how I landed on the island and how I swim across the sea. And it crosses my mind that I may wake to a knife in me. The cynicism in this song is absolutely hysterical, ladies and gentlemen. There is no more mystery. Is it gonna happen, my love? One of my notes here is that particular moment reminds me of Morrissey from the Smiths. Is it gonna happen, my love? That's what I think of, honestly, when I hear that. Those long-forgotten high school fears. It's all in my head, I said, banging on the piano. I've not been so alone since kicking in the womb. I drank so much tea, I wrote my letters in kanji. Around the block I walked, pretending you were with me, not wanting to die out here without you. So this person, obviously a lot of mental and emotional instability. And like a medicine bottle in the cabinet, I'll keep you and I'll hold you. But he's also been pushing this person back as well. What is going to make this person happy? I don't know, but I'll tell you something. It's one of the best songs ever made. But my Christ, you've got to be in a certain mood to listen to it. And then Down Colourful Hill, whereas these almost kind of marching drums at the start. And this one is, I think this is a beautiful song. I really do. Lyrically, this is quite, it's more vague, but it says prayers always die in time. Prayers always, prayers for success, like empty roofs above. Life for poor doves, rid of our love. A lot of repetition with the lyrics here, but it's a beautiful song. It's much needed after 24 and Medicine Bottle. Utterly gorgeous. One of my favourite tracks on the album. I don't know which song did I fit. I've picked Medicine Bottle as my favourite, but they could all be my favourite. I went as far as losing sleep. I went as far as messing up my life. Unloving still, strike me different. A million miles away from home. And 15 from a payphone, where we sat lonely on the sand. You're 10 years older. We translate Japanese to English and English to Japanese. But as you'll notice, ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't work. So what Kozilek ends up doing here is singing an English to Japan ease. And it is both hilarious, ridiculous, but also amazing because it just works. And you're like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. And then my favourite lyric in the whole of the Red House Painters discography, you'll notice I'm talking a lot more about the lyrics here, but I adore the music as well. The passion is coming out of me for this album because it is just, in my opinion, one of the best albums ever made, as are at least another 2 or 3 of the other Red House Painters albums on this list. At least. It's not that simple, this dictionary. It never has a word for the way I'm feeling. It's nothing plain for me of a different God and moral. Absolutely phenomenal. I just love that lyric so much. What I had to say is unsaid. What I had to do is undone. And if it was done, I'm sure it would have killed our hour. Gorgeous song, beautiful, emotional, melancholy, and all the good shit you'd expect from a Red House Painters song. No smiles here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is the thing. Fucking hell, come on, my mouse isn't working on my bed. I've got it on my bed. It's not obviously the surface that you should really be using a mouse on. Oh, for Christ's sake, Genius.com, you're making my life bloody hard work. Come on. Now, Lord Kill the Pain. Here's the thing. I don't like that song. It's jangly. It's not got the emotional edge of the other songs. It's a folk rock kind of song. I'm not that keen on much about this track. Pardon me. If I was listening to the album from start to finish, I'll give it a listen. It's okay. But compared to the rest of the album, I'm not keen on it. But ladies and gentlemen, the song ends with a track called Michael. Now, with bands that are incredibly popular, and, you know, Redis Painters, for people that like a lot of different music, they'll have heard of them before. If you're around in the 90s, you'll have heard of them before. Slowcore, sadcore, all this shite. But, I forgot, I've lost my train of thought. Look, this song is just devastating. It really is. It opens up... Well, that was it. That's what I was going to say. There's a person on the page of this song on YouTube who said, I'm Michael. Yeah, Mark's singing about me. Ask me any question. And then there's another person saying, no, I'm Michael. It's like, what? Come on. So who's to be believed? But who's to say that it's wrong? I love that kind of Chinese whispers, kind of these memes and, you know, is it real? Is it not real? These things that go down in folklore online. And apparently, at a concert in the 90s, at a gig, Mark was singing this song and Michael was in the front row and they saw him as he's singing it, and it's like, this sounds a little bit too far-fetched for me, but I just bloody love the story anyway, and I hope it's real. And that's how it starts. Michael, where are you now? Somewhere in my excitement, the last time you called, it slipped again to ask your hidden whereabouts. I got a lead from your old XXX girlfriend. She said, I heard he lost his mind again and again. I said I didn't know that you ever did. Sleeping through the mornings in flannel impaired. Don't really get that. And getting high in the southern air. Shoeless, sandy evenings down the unfamiliar. Last whiff of saltwater freedom. With the ghost on your side of the state borderline. And then, Jesus Christ, and then it gets even more emotional for me. Do you remember our first subway ride? Our first heavy metal haircuts? Our last swim on the East Coast? And me with my ridiculous looking pierced nose. This is certainly the 80s, ladies and gentlemen. And I've never lived this life. I'm not from the US. I was born in 1989, so this is probably a bit before I was born even, but it puts me in that zone. And at the end of the day, we've all lost touch with friends from back in the day. I've had people who've just deleted me off Facebook who I was very close friends with, and you just learn that life moves on and you can't let it get you down and you can't think too much about it. But at the same time, some people are very sentimental and emotional, and that's just the way humans can be. And I don't know if that's what this song is about, but it sure as hell seems like it. And then the end part here, I remember your warm smile in the sun, the daydreaming boy without a shirt on. The Birmingham barfly father left a mother of 3 sons. You're the oldest juvenile delinquent bum. Unbelievable. That's fantastic. Fantastic lyrics. And then after about 10 seconds of silence, it says, Mark sings, of course, my best friend. And oh my God, I'm nearly in tears just thinking about it. Absolutely devastating, phenomenal. This album is a devastator emotionally. And the Red House Painters discography is incredible. Now, I really wanted to keep this below 30 minutes, but it's just not something that is possible for me to do, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to implore that you guys skip to each individual track, each individual album when I'm talking about them, because to watch this, or watch it in 2 times speed. That is honestly what I do in YouTube. It's great to have it. It's weird when you come out at 2 times speed, though, and everything's at normal speed, and it's like, why is this person speaking so slowly? But I hope you guys will understand that to talk for nearly an hour with no jump cuts or any shit like that ain't easy. I've just gone off passion and love of this band's music. I know that Mark Kozelek himself isn't somebody who people are that keen on. I know that there's been a lot of stories of things in the past and whatnot, But you've got to remember that Red House Painters are 4 men and other musicians and other people who helped this band come to be, and their music has helped people emotionally, and it's just genuinely, in my opinion, some of the best music ever made. If you like what you've heard, then check them out on Spotify and all the rest of the places that don't give the bands the money. And yeah, amazing band. The next worst to best, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a hip-hop artist. It's going to be Gangstar in the 90s. I love Gangstar. And Boards of Canada, my favourite all-time artist apart from Catatonia. Well, that's not really going to be a worst to best. That's just going to be absolutely adoring the music and saying I can't even make a worst to best. But thanks for watching, people. I much appreciate it. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.